Hi everyone, welcome back to Spring into Math 7. I'm Mrs. Campbell, and today we're going to be talking about ratios. Let's get started. So let's start with the definition of a ratio. And you might want to write this down. A ratio is a way to compare two numbers, measurements, or quantities. When we write a ratio, we divide one number by another and express the answer as a fraction. And the example that I have for you here is 25 to 75. Let's look at an example of a ratio in kind of a real-life situation. Nadia is counting out money with her little brother. She gives her brother all the nickels and pennies. She keeps the quarters and the dimes for herself. Nadia has 4 quarters and 6 dimes. Her brother has 15 nickels and 5 pennies and is happy because he thinks he actually has more coins than Nadia. How would you explain to him that he is actually getting a bad deal? So there's 2 different ways that we can set this problem up as a ratio. The first thing that we can do is compare the number of coins that each of them has. So we'll compare Nadia's coins to her brother's coins. And the first thing we'll do is we'll add 4 plus 6 for Nadia because she has 4 quarters and 6 dimes. So she has a total of 10 coins. Now her brother has 15 nickels and 5 pennies. 15 plus 5 is 20. So once we simplify that ratio of 10 over 20, or 10 to 20, we can simplify that as 1 to 2. So in fact, the little brother's actually right. He does have twice as many coins as Nadia. However, let's take a look at what happens when we compare the value of the coins in a ratio format. So we'll compare the value of Nadia's coins to her brother's value of coins. So we have Nadia's value, 4 times 25 plus 6 times 10, and that gives us 160 cents, or $1.60. And we have her brother's value, which is 15 times 5 plus 5 times 1, which is 80. And then we simplify that, and look at that, the tables have turned. The value of Nadia's coins is twice as much as the value of her little brother's coins. So he, in fact, is not getting a very good deal. Now I want to point out this type of a ratio where we have 2 over 1. Now, anytime you have a 1 in the denominator when you're looking at ratios, that's what we call a unit rate. So let's take a minute and look at the definition of what a unit rate is. A unit rate is a ratio with a denominator of 1. We leave this in fraction form instead of writing it as a whole number when we're dealing with ratios. And as we said before, now we know that the value of Nadia's coins is twice the value of her brother's coins. All right, let's take a look at another example. The price of a Harry Potter book on Amazon.com is $10. The same book is also available used for $6.50. Find 2 ways to compare these prices. Well, the first way that we can compare these 2 prices is simply by comparing their price. So what we can do is take $10 minus $6.50 and compare the difference in the value of the books. So there's a difference of $3.50. But another way that we could compare them is by using a ratio. So let's take it as Amazon.com on the top, where our numerator would go, and then used in the bottom, where the denominator would go. Now we're going to compare the prices of the 2. So on Amazon.com, the book is $10. Used, it's $6.50. Now, what I've done here is I've multiplied by 10 to get 100 over 65, just to sort of simplify the problem, and also I've removed the decimals. Then I simplified, and I come up with 20 to 13. So the new book costs 20 over 13 times as much as the used book. Let's try one more example. Okay, a tournament-sized shuffleboard table measures 30 inches wide by 14 feet long. Compare the length to its width and express the answer as a ratio. So we'll start out putting feet over inches and then put the actual value and the actual numbers in. We've got 14 feet over 30 inches. Now the next step would be to convert my feet into inches because it's too difficult to compare when they're in different units of measurement. So I've converted 14 feet into 168 inches. to 30 inches. And then I simplify, and I have 28 to 5. All right, everyone, that just about does it for this lesson. Thanks so much for joining us, and we'll see you next time.